In this video, we are going to learn uniform motion and non-uniform motion. So let's start with the uniform motion. So whenever an object is moving along a straight line, covers equal distance in equal interval of time, it is said to be in uniform motions. What that mean? So to understand this, we have plotted one graph here. These graphs show how an object is changing its position with respect to time. So on the y-axis we have a distance that is covered by an object, and in x-axis we have the time. So if you will see, let's take some points here. Let's take this interval. This is one interval. Let's take this as a second interval. Let's take this one as a third interval. So now what we will do? We will find how much distance an object covers in this interval. That is interval of every 2 seconds. So if you will see, for the first one, let's take for the time interval 1, time interval 2, time interval 3. So the first interval, for the first interval, how much distance it had covered? So for the first interval, the object has covered almost gone from 0 to this point. So the distance he has covered is 20 meter. So let's write it. He has the object have covered 20 meter of length in 2 seconds. In 2 seconds. Now let's look for the second interval. For the second interval you will see, for the second interval, this interval, again you will see the object is here and then it's moved from here to this point. So again if you will see the difference between these 2 points, that is again 20. So for the next 2 seconds, again object has covered 20 meter in next 2 seconds. Okay. Now if you will go for the third case, now for the third case you will see, now the object is here, and for the next again 2 seconds, next 2 seconds, object has moved to 60 meter from this point. So again object has covered 20 meter in next 2 seconds. 20 meter in next 2 seconds. So in all of these intervals, first, second and thirds, object have covered same distance in every interval of time. So whenever an object behave like this, that is it cover equal distance in equal interval of time, it's said to be in uniform motion. So we can say, from this we can say object is in uniform motion. Uniform motion. And second important thing, from a graph you can identify whether the motion is in uniform or not. You will see the slope of this line. What is the slope? Slope is dx by dt. This is called the slope. If slope is constant, means dx by dt equal to constant, any number, it should be constant. If the slope of the graph if the slope of the graph is constant, we can say the object is in uniform motion. So now we will see in this case. In this case you will also observe, by looking at the graph, you can directly say, since the slope of an object that is moving with some distance with respect to time is constant, that is dx by dt is constant, we can say whatever is the object that is moving with this behavior of graph having a uniform speed. Or in the second way, again here you can take a 2 interval. Let's take an interval of 2 seconds. Let's take an interval of 2 seconds. Again, you can identify from here that for the first two seconds, that is for 1, 2, 3. We have taken 3 interval. For the first interval, you will see the object has moved from 20 meter to 30 meter. How much distance object has covered? 10 meter. 10 meter in 2 seconds. For the next interval, that is second interval, for the next interval you can again see the object has start from here and ended here. So how much distance again he has covered? 10 meter. 10 meter distance he has covered in 2 seconds. Similarly for third also the object has covered 10 meter in next 2 seconds. Like this way also you can say, by looking at this you can say object is in uniform motion, or by looking at the slope of the graph also you can say the motion of an object is in uniform motion. Okay, I hope it is clear to you. When we can say the object is in uniform motion, the main thing here is covers equal distance in equal interval of time, and the graph for such type of motion has a slope that is constant. Now we will come to stationary object. So when an object is not moving with respect to time, means initially at time t equal to 0, this is my time axis and this is my distance axis. So initially from some reference point object was at 40 meter. This is my reference. So object was at 40 meters from the reference, and with time it is not making any change in the distance. So object is in rest or stationary. So for the graph for the stationary object will be just straight line that is perpendicular to x-axis. That is perpendicular to x-axis. This represents our object is not moving with respect to time. Now the last is how non-uniform motion look like. Non-uniform motion look like. Let's look at the definition. So if we will talk about the non-uniform motion, definition says if an object move along a straight line covers unequal distance, very important point, unequal distance in equal interval of time, it is said to be in non-uniform motion. But it try to say if we will take 2 intervals, I will take the interval of this much. This is my first interval, this is my second interval. Okay, equal interval, 4 seconds. Let's take 2 interval only. Now let's see how much distance the object is covering in this interval. For the first interval you will see the object had start from 0 and then the object has reached to 10 meters. The distance covered by an object is 10 meter in how much second? 4 seconds. In 4 seconds. Now look at the second interval. If we will see at the second interval, the object had started from here and then the object moves and came to a distance of 70 meter. How much distance it had covered? 70 minus 10. It's 60 meter. 60 meter in how much time? 4 seconds. Now you will see there is a difference. For the first 4 seconds, object has covered 10 meter, and for the next 4 seconds, it has covered 60 meters. That means object is covering unequal distance in equal interval of time. So such kind of motion is known as non-uniform motion. Such kind of motion is known as non-uniform motion. And second method to identify directly that motion is straight, is uniform or not, is to look at the slope. If we will take a slope at this point, the slope to this curve is this one. What is the slope? Slope is dx by dt. And if you will see the slope here in this point, it is like this. And if you will see the slope here, so you will see the slope is continuously changing, means dx by dt is not constant. If dx by dt is not constant, the motion is non-uniform motion. So like this also we can identify whether our motion is uniform or non-uniform. I hope this is clear to you.